A lot of people these days are questioning the value of college, and for a good reason. I've spent my entire adult life in education. I have 2 education degrees. I've taught middle school, high school, and spent 40 years as a college professor. I am also a Christian parent with 9 grown children, so let me lend my perspective to the question. The first question we need to consider is, why do people want to go to college in the first place? 100 years ago, you went to college to become a deeper, broader, more complete person, to become more civilized, as it were. And it was strictly an upper-class venue. In the 1890s, only 3% of America's youth were college-bound after high school. Later on, more and more adolescents went to college because it was a ticket to a better-paying career. In many cases, it was absolutely necessary to pursue certain careers like medicine or college teaching itself. And it ceased being an upper-class phenomenon. Today, around 60% of America's youth will eventually enroll in college. Another reason parents wanted their kids to go to college was to transition fairly painlessly into adulthood. Rather than being thrown into the jungle of real-life work experience, a kid could take 4 years to move slowly into the real world, and while having a really good time and possibly learning a few things along the way. But the biggest reason people went to college was a college degree confers status. Parents want to be able to tell their friends that their children are college educated. For many, the more prestigious the university, the more pleasure they get in telling people about their children. But today, a lot has changed. More and more parents are hesitant to see their kids off to college, and a lot of kids feel the same way. A recent Gallup poll showed that slightly more than half of parents want their kids to go to college. The Wall Street Journal recently ran an article entitled, "Why Parents Have Lost Faith in the Value of College." Why is this? All too often, college makes your life worse in every way. Let's start with the most obvious. College makes you worse off financially in many, if not most, cases. I have read all the statistics that say a college graduate makes more money over a lifetime than people who don't go to college. But is going to college the reason? A lot of those kids who went to college are the kind of kids who have made a lot more money anyway. Businesses see it this way. Many require a college degree even if it has absolutely nothing to do with the product they produce or the work they expect the employee to do. They figure if a kid can work his way through the tedium of higher education, he probably knows how to work and how to endure. According to the Wall Street Journal, the average public university costs $36,000 a year. A degree at a private or elite university costs $300,000 to complete. In my home state of Colorado, the average college loan debt is $36,000, which is pretty typical. It doesn't take a student very long to figure out he can do a lot with $36,000. Colleges make you worse off morally. I remember my students at the University of Colorado saying, "We're the #1 party school in America." And I have heard that from many, many students at other colleges as well. I'll bet students from more than 100 colleges have claimed that title of being the #1 party school in America. They brag about how debauched their college is. I was chatting with a prof from Villanova, an ostensibly Catholic school, and he said our dorms are nothing but brothels. But I already knew that. When I taught at CU, my office was in a dorm. I cannot begin to tell you the depths of depravity it had sunk to. The drunkenness, drug use, and immorality. Hell has more moral restraint. Colleges make you worse off religiously. For Christian parents, this is one of the most obvious and is the most important. In most cases, Having a college degree means you have spent 4 years being indoctrinated by the enemies of Christ. If you attend a public university, you have zero chance of taking a class from a Christian professor. And it isn't as though they are neutral. Some professors are, but many devote themselves to the destruction of any kind of Christian faith. I was talking with a colleague who taught English. He said, and I quote, "My job is to destroy the religious values these kids got from their parents." And I said, "What do you plan to replace it with?" He had a one-word answer: Marxism. And don't think he's an outlier. Thousands of American professors are just like him, which is why I have a video on why the academic community is the greatest enemy of Western civilization. College makes you worse off politically. The biggest indicator of left-wing voting is college attendance. If you went to college, you are far more likely to vote for left-wing candidates than if you didn't go. Millions of American adolescents sit for 4 or more years at the feet of people who hate God, hate the people of God, hate America, and hate Western civilization. Does it surprise you that tens of thousands of these students have taken to the streets to express hatred for Israel? Or that they vote by the millions for left-wing politicians? The left is the chief enemy of the world we live in, and they are a wholly owned subsidiary of America's colleges. And last, college makes you worse off intellectually. Study after study has shown that college graduates have less ability to think clearly and logically than those who don't go to college. The academic community does not want clear-thinking citizens. It wants people to mindlessly follow the policies of the secular progressive elite. Having said all this, I realize that some of you will still feel led by the Lord to go to college. And I won't argue that it isn't His will. I have a bachelor's degree and a PhD from secular universities, and I believe the Lord led me in both cases. You might feel called to a specific vocation, like medicine or education, and a college degree is a necessity. But if you are a parent or high school student, you need to feel free to seriously consider alternatives to college. What are they? If you search online for alternatives to college, you will find very, very long lists. I link below one of those articles, 22 alternatives to college. Let me give you 3 of my favorites. First, if you really feel you need that college credential, get one online. There are hundreds of choices, including some very fine Christian colleges. The cost will be a fraction of attending a residential college, and you will be able to continue to live at home or in your home area, attend your same church, fellowship with the same group of people who know and love you. I see no real overall advantage to uprooting your life and heading off to State U or any other U. Community colleges fit in here as well. I taught at one for many years, and I thought these students are getting just as good an education as they would at the large state university I taught at, and they are doing it for about 1/10 the cost. A second alternative to college: enter the job market as an apprentice or just as an employee. Start gaining work experience. Start developing skills people need. They will pay for them. A number of years ago, the Wall Street Journal did a comparison of a person who became a plumber and a person who became a medical doctor. The doctor ended up making more, but not a lot more, and he didn't have a higher annual salary until he was much, much older. If you feel God calling you to be a doctor, by all means go to college and med school. But finances are not the best guide for making that kind of decision. A third alternative to college: become an entrepreneur, or start working at some sort of business which will give you the skills to someday start your own business. Many entrepreneurs make serious money, and college is almost always irrelevant to this career choice. Interestingly, way less than half of college graduates work in the area of their college major. So why go in the first place? I hope this helps. I pray the Lord will guide you as you seek His will regarding higher education. May He bless you mightily this day.